Welcome back to my channel Duct Tape Mechanic and to another episode of my series Free on Facebook, a series of videos in which I find things for free and I show you how to repair them, repurpose them, or recycle them in another manner. In this video, I got this Kenmore washing machine that's not working because it's just flashing this red lid lock light. So it just sits there and flashes a light, does nothing after that. So if you find this video to be helpful, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more DIY and tinkering videos. So here's the washing machine in question. So this video is going to be pretty much applicable to any sort of Kenmore, Whirlpool, Maytag, top load washing machine that has these 6 LED lights. So basically, when I plug the machine into the wall here, it just sits here and that LED light underneath the lid lock just sits there and flashes. It does nothing else. Whenever I try to start a cycle, it doesn't do anything, just continues to just lid lock and just continues to flash. I also can't put this machine into diagnostic mode, which is a little bit problematic. So the first thing to do if you see this issue is go ahead and unplug your machine for 30 seconds, replug it back in and see if that does anything. I didn't in this case. So the next thing would be, typically I would put this in diagnostics mode, but that's not, we really can't do that here. So the next thing I would suspect is the lid lock itself to be bad. The only real way to test that is what I'm going to show next, is to open up this panel right here and unplug the lid lock from the board and then plug the machine back in. And if that light goes away, that tells us there's an issue with the solenoid in the lid lock. And if the light continues to blink, that tells us most likely there's a control board issue causing the lid lock to continue to blink like this. The machine is actuating the lid lock even though it doesn't need to be. Basically, most likely it's a stuck relay on the board, but I'll show you how to troubleshoot that in the next step. All right, so let's see if it's the lid lock or if it's most likely the control board. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to unplug it from the wall, which I've already done. Then I'm going to get a putty knife and kind of jam it in right here. There's pins right here, the little clips right here. And I'm going to push those in and pop this whole control board up. And that will give us access to where the lid lock connects into the control board. So once you pry it up, sometimes on some models there's a couple screws back here. Doesn't look like this model's got them, so we're just gonna pop it up there. Or if it could be that it did have the screws and somebody didn't put them back, but anyways, you'll see the screws. Alright, so we got the panel flipped up and we have access to the control board over here. And so typically, when you have the lid lock light flashing like that, you automatically suspect that the lid lock mechanism is going to be bad. But like I said, it's not always the case. So the way we're going to eliminate that is we're going to unplug the lid lock from the board. And if that light goes away, when we plug it back in, that tells us that there's an issue with the lid lock mechanism. But if that light continues to flash, then there's an issue with the control board. And that's an easy way for us to eliminate both of those issues without actually having to go into diagnostics mode, which is not really applicable in this situation, or do any sort of voltage testing. So in this case, the lid lock connector is the one with the yellow, blue, white, and red. But if you have a Whirlpool or a Maytag, it might be slightly different. So a safe bet is to just see the wires that come up from the chassis of the washer, which are right here. So those are coming from the lid lock mechanism. You just follow those wires and see where they're connected right here. So we're gonna go ahead and unconnect it there. Just be gentle. I've already kind of walked through this issue before making this video, so I do know what's going on. That's why you'll see some of these wire harnesses are already loose, because it does take me some time to troubleshoot what's going on. Then I gotta put the problem back, and then I gotta fix it again in front of the camera. So I do appreciate the support for this channel in terms of getting more subscriptions and more views, and that every support and every comment really helps me and encourages me to continue this cause. Okay, so with that connector loose there, we're gonna go ahead and plug the machine back in and see what our light display looks like. So we plugged it in, and about 5 seconds after plugging it in, we see that the lid lock light is on. I also heard a click. This looks like the relay for the lid lock is actuating. But as you can see, the lid lock itself is unplugged. So how could it be blinking like that? So that just tells us that there's an issue with the board. So what we're going to do is we're going to be swapping out this control board. In a future video, I will hope to troubleshoot this control board and actually figure out what's going on. Is it a relay that's stuck, or is it a capacitor that's acting funny? And that's my goal for this control board. But for now, I'm going to show you how to swap out a control board. It's really easy. It's not complicated at all. The first thing we'll have to do is we're going to have to unplug the washing machine. That's so we don't shock ourselves. After that, we're just going to unplug all of the remaining wires. You can take a picture if you really need to, but they're keyed in such a way where you really can't screw up where to put them. So you don't have to worry about it too much, but the first couple times I did it, I took pictures as well. So we're going to be undoing all those wires and the pressure hose connector as well. And then we're going to be undoing these two screws, and it's just going to come right off at an angle. And as far as the replacements goes, they are a little bit expensive. That's why I want to try to actually troubleshoot the board level, do a board level repair on this if possible. But if not, I have had a fair amount of good luck buying replacement boards used on eBay. So if you can figure out that this is a board issue and you just want to pay 50 or 60 bucks for a used control board, I would recommend it. It's a kind of a low risk, high reward type of deal, especially with a machine like this, which looks like it's in absolute pristine condition. If you look around, there's no dirt on it. Underneath is super clean, no transmission leaks, no grease, no nothing. So in this case, spending 50 or 60 bucks for an extra for a repair for an old used control board may be worth it. For me, I got a bunch of control boards, and I'm sure I can find one that's going to be a direct replacement of this, because Whirlpool, which is the maker of Kenmore, pretty much uses the same control boards on many different models. So we'll be doing that next. Just pulling out all these connectors, undoing those two screws, and pulling the old board off. I forgot to mention, you actually do need to pull this main knob off as well, otherwise the board won't come out. I always forget that. It looks like when everything's connected, they have these little wire clips to make sure all the wires are in the right spots. But other than that, it's fairly straightforward to replace the control board. So what we're going to do next is we're going to kind of flip this back over here, and we're going to plug it into the wall and see if that lid lock light stays off. And if it does, we'll go ahead and set this up for a wash cycle and see what it does. All right, so it's plugged in so far. The light is off, so that's a good indication. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of snap this back into place right here. That's some debris right there. And then we're just going to see what it does in the test cycle. There we go. And we'll put this middle part back in. Can only go one way. There we go. Let's put some clothes in here, hook this up to my test station and see what it does. Alright, so I've got the washing machine plugged in to my test station, got some clothes in there, and as you can see, the lid lock light is no longer flashing. It's progressed to the wash cycle. I also went ahead and took the striker off the lid lock and placed it in there so I could actually open up the lid and it would continue to wash. So that's just for me to test it out. And you can see it's washing up the old duct tape delicates pretty well. So yeah, so this is a little bit of a bizarre issue. I don't think I've ever seen the lid lock like this just continue to flash. Maybe it was some sort of power surge or something. But if you found this video to be helpful, make sure you hit the thumbs up sign. And stay tuned for future videos, and I'm going to be trying to repair this control board. If I'm successful, I'm going to make a video on this because this would reduce the cost of this repair by an order of magnitude. So stay tuned for that, and as always, thank you.